Yo, what's good, guys? Inswain with Inswain Audio. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, where have you been, man? We missed you. Make sure to subscribe and join the family. Welcome, welcome. Today, we're going to be talking about the mindset of saving it for the master when you're mixing and why that's a bad idea. Let's get into it. You should be mixing as if there's no mastering. Imagine that mastering isn't a profession. Get in the mindset that I'm going to make everything perfect in this mix and leave it for the mastering engineer, whether it's you or someone else, make their life as easy as possible. Not for that sake necessarily, but you want them to just listen to it, be like, yep, it's perfect, put a limiter on it, turn it up maybe, and it's done. That is the mindset that you should be having while you're mixing. Mainly, this is because it's always better to fix things at the source, right? If there's a harsh frequency in a guitar, it's a lot cleaner and more precise and accurate to attenuate that frequency in the mix on the guitar track than it is to do it in the master on the entire stereo file, because then what if vocals live there and they're getting attenuated when they don't need to, right? Like, yeah, mastering is an important profession and it can fix things and it has its purpose, but you should be mixing as if it doesn't exist. This brings me to my next point, which is some things are impossible to fix in the master. And this has nothing to do with the level of the skill of the mastering engineer. This is kind of like what I just said. If there's a harsh frequency in a guitar, it's impossible to remove it from just the guitar, right? You'll be removing it from everything. Now, sometimes this is an overall improvement, but it's kind of a sacrifice and a trade-off, where if you just fixed it in the mix at the source, you can do it cleanly to just the guitar and leave everything else unaffected. There's also things that are just simply impossible with the technology we have. Like, when mastering, you can't adjust the levels and the balance of things in the mix. Now, there is tricks and magic you can do to seemingly get at these things, but it's not perfect. Like, there's nothing that can turn the level of the guitar down like you can in a mix when you have the multi-tracks. Go to the guitar track, turn it down. Also, effects on individual tracks. Like, I've mastered multiple songs where the artist says, I want more reverb on the vocals, or reverb in general. And it's like, I'm the mastering engineer. That's a mixing thing. I have no way to do that, possibly. Now, what I did at least one time was put reverb on the whole master. I know, crazy, right? But I cut out the frequencies where the vocal didn't exist to try to focus on the vocal, but it wasn't perfect. Any melodic instruments in that mid-range where the vocal was also living, it's going to get reverberation as well. There's just no way around it. Of course, you could do, like mid-side processing as well to try to target it, but it's never going to be perfect. You can't do effects on individual tracks when you're at the mastering level, so make sure you nail it in the mix first. And finally, things like tuning, like specifically on vocals, is most common. I, as a mastering engineer, or any mastering engineer, we can't adjust the tuning of the vocal when we're mastering it. That has to be done at the mix, right? Anything done on the individual level of the track is always better to be done there when possible than to leave it to the mastering engineer to try to do some magic to maybe fix it a little bit, but also cause other issues and chase their tail. It's always cleaner, more accurate, and precise to do it at the track level. Also, it's just a bad mindset to have to get 90 to 95% of the way through the mix, the mastering engineer will finish it, or the master will fix it. It's just lazy, and it's just not a good way to work, and it's not going to give you the best results that you could be getting. Those last couple moves and that last couple percent is what, makes the difference a lot of times. And if you spend the time to make sure that the mix is as perfect as you could possibly make it before mastering it, you're always going to end up with a better result regardless. And finally, many times, the mastering just doesn't do what you want it to do, or it doesn't fix the issues. If it's a different mastering engineer, they might have a different vision. Not to say one of your visions is right or wrong necessarily. It's all subjective, but you might have the mix 95% of the way there. You're like, the mastering engineer will fix this one thing that I just don't feel like doing, or I don't want to do for whatever reason. But then the mastering engineer doesn't do it. And now you, the mastering engineer, the artist, the producer, everybody has a subpar or not as good as it could be product because you didn't want to cross that finish line. So don't rely on the mastering engineers. Yes, they're needed. They're great. They can make your mix shine in the best light possible, but work and act as if they don't exist. And then you're going to be giving them, an A product, and they'll turn it into an A plus, as opposed to giving them an A minus and they turn it into an A, right? Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully I motivated you to cross that finish line and to perfect your mixes, whatever that may mean or may look like. Anyways, guys, my name is Inswain with Inswain Audio. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, name your firstborn child after me. I'd really appreciate it, and so would the algorithm. I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Peace!